Hi, everyone, and I'm very excited to be here and to get this opportunity to reach out and get to at least one way, in a way, interact with all of you and share my experience about Harvard, about how I went there, what prompted that decision, my experience, and how it has changed me as a professional. And of course, the application process, which is probably the most important part. So I had done my MBA, I remember in 2014, and then I immediately joined the IT sector and the private sector and the industry, which many of you would definitely do at some point in your lives. And after working for 2 years, I shifted to the health sector. This was in 2016. And then while I worked, and I worked in United Health Group for around 3.5 years, during that time, I remember that while we were trying to conceptualize health technology solutions for the marketplace and for the Indian market, telemedicine, telehealth, electronic health records, hospital management software, I was working on all these different areas. And during that time, a thought struck me that we are trying to push, and technology is a great, I believe that it's a great disruptor when it comes to India. It has huge potential. But during that time, I thought, how can it help, the Indian public health landscape? Can we bring it to the last mile? How do we use technology to its best, the advantage? How do we build up our hospitals or their infrastructure so that they're able to use health technology better in even the remote or the rural areas of India? And during that time, I was like, I want to bring in my management experience and my experience and work ethic that I gathered from the private sector and bring it to the public sector and explore an area of, let's say, a public-private synergy or partnership in the health sector. And that was when I decided that I'm going to go and take the plunge and go for a second master's degree in Masters in Public Health, Health Policy and Management included. So 2018, then my very 1 year long application process started. And this was for universities in US, which I was targeting. So I remember starting a year back. So I worked my way backwards. Let's say in 2019, if I had to get into a university, I need to start preparing in 2018. And the same goes for any one of you who would aspire to do a master's outside. So what I did was, and there were 4 application components, which were all equally important. One was the GRE and the GMAT, which of course is a very important part of the application process. Second one was the statement of purpose, which is kind of the heart of the application. And that is where the entire weight of the application lies in a way. And the third is an optional application component. Some people will get it, some people won't, which is the interview process. So you may be called for an interview or you may not be. That depends on which university you're targeting or which program you're targeting. And of course, the fourth is getting your letters of recommendation in place. So US needs 3 letters of recommendation, preferably from either your professors that you've studied from before or your supervisor at your workplace, if you're coming with work experience. So, and getting all the documentation in place takes at least, 8 to 9 months, a minimum. So what I did was, of course, I started with the low-hanging fruit and I started my GRE and GMAT prep. For me, it was GRE because I was going for a health-specific and a health policy and management-specific course. If you're going for a management course, it'll be the GMAT. And both of the patterns are somewhat similar, except the GRE focuses a lot on verbal and the verbal and your logical reasoning, which is tougher than the GMAT, which focuses a lot on quantitative aptitude. So what I did was, I remember I'd spent 2 to 3 months preparing for the GRE, and I used to work. So early morning, I used to get up and prepare for 2 hours before going to office. And I used to take 1 practice test every week, at least for 3 months. And I would recommend Manhattan Prep. That's the best if you want to go for GRE or GMAT, any of those 2. So that is what really helped me get a good score, a decent enough score in the GRE. And then the statement of purpose, which is the heart of the application when you're talking about US universities, right? So I remember making, it basically is a document. It's like an essay a 1500 to 2000 word essay where you explain why you want to go for a particular course. If you want to do a second management degree, why exactly do you want to do that? What prompted you? What motivated you? How do you connect the dots? Like if you're working in a sector and an industry, what made you think that, okay, now you need to be more equipped, you need to update yourself and your skill set? Let's say you want to learn more on business analytics, artificial intelligence, and you want to take a higher course in that. So it's basically about connecting the dots and writing it in a very thoughtful manner. And the statement of purpose is what the admissions committee uses the most to vet applicants out. Or the GRE and GMAT score, you need to have a good, basic, decent score, but it's all right if you don't have a great score, you can still get into a very good university. But I think the statement of purpose is the heart of the application. And then your letters of recommendation, of course, you need to strategically place who knows you well, your supervisor, who has evaluated your work. So yeah, after getting all those components in place, I applied to, I think, 10 universities. I went a little overboard. And I had kept some top schools like Yale, Columbia, Harvard, and I'd kept some middle schools, middle ranking schools, just to be on the safe side. And I remember getting out of 10 schools, I got into 9 schools, basically all of them, including Harvard, which of course I had decided to go for because it's one of the best in health policy and basically all the fields, I would say. So yeah, I opted for Harvard then because I liked their approach when it came to public health and health policy. They had a very interdisciplinary approach, and they focused on a lot of different areas within the health sector. So I ended up choosing that. And I was like, all right, let me now quit my full-time job and let's go ahead with this and see where I get to. Once I reached Harvard, of course, it was a different experience altogether because you're getting to interact with, professors who have received Nobel laureates, who are also working part-time at World Bank and leading the development unit within World Bank or the WHO, or acting as consultants to different ministries and different departments or different countries. Yet they are so grounded, they're so humble when they teach in class. And I think that, and it's a pointer for each one of you to remember that no matter which institution you go to, I think we tend to focus a lot on sitting and studying in your desk. But I think if you foster that relationship, and that connect with your professors, with your peers, it provides for a great networking opportunity, which has helped me immensely. And even till now, because I'm still in touch with a lot of professors and we still exchange notes. And me personally, I got an opportunity to work on a great research project, with one of the professors, and this was for work for the ministry in India for a couple of states. And I'm still continuing that research work. I still continue my academic collaboration with them. Also, I think it was a different world altogether at Harvard because I was sitting beside, you never know who you're sitting beside to, right? That person may have worked in United Nations for I don't know how many years, may have worked in different organizations. I remember there was this one class I was taking at the Harvard Kennedy School in public policy. And the person sitting beside me was directly working for the COO at Facebook. So she was directly working for the CEO there, and she had come on her break. I think she'd taken a sabbatical, a 9-month sabbatical to study public policy and kind of club it with her management experience. And and she was so humble and so approachable, and I got to learn a lot in that one class just by sitting beside her and through group assignments, through group work, through collaboration. So I would definitely say that before you enter any institution or any journey that you want to undertake, be it in academics, be it in management, be it in, let's say technology, business analytics or business intelligence, artificial intelligence, whatever you want to do, I would say that think about how you can connect it back to what you've done before. If you don't have any experience and you're going with a fresh mind, then all the more better. It's great because you're going as a clean slate. If you're going with experience, then think about how you can build your experience and how can you connect the dots, and in a way, how can you help the society? I think this is one area where a lot of us professionals have started thinking about, and which is a very welcome change as opposed to what I used to see, 5 to 10 years back. A lot of us want to do a lot of social impact through our work. You could be anywhere. You could be, an AI enthusiast. But I've seen many AI enthusiasts during my course at Harvard. They had come from a technology and management experience, but they wanted to build AI solutions for disease prediction, and disease outbreak prediction. And how do you help strengthen a country's system or your own country's system to tackle an epidemic? And with the COVID-19 scenario, I think this is very well relevant. So I think wherever you're making your professional journey and on whichever path you go and whatever process you take throughout the application process, starting from that till your entire degree where you get it, I think you've always got to keep thinking about how can you give back to the society, I think, in a way, and also how do you leverage your experience, your management capabilities to the best of its use. Because that has really the Harvard experience, the entire, the grueling application experience of 1 year, where I'd prepared for my GRE, for my statement of purpose, everything. I think in that entire 1 year and the 2 years that followed for my studies at Harvard, I think these 3 years have really, they've made me, I think, yes, they've made me pretty sharp, pretty intuitive, I would say, in some ways, but they've also made me very empathetic as a person because of the rich variety of experiences and people I got to interact with. So I think that that is one key takeaway that I would also like to pass on to anyone who happens to be watching this video and who is aspiring to go for a second master's degree or a first master's degree or wherever you want to go in your professional journey at some point. And I would definitely wish you, the best of luck. And I hope that you do great in wherever you go. And at the end of the day, it's important to be a great human being. Also, another quick thing before I break out: people management skills is a soft skill that is very underrated, but it comes to excellent use when you're trying to network, when you're trying to cultivate, your expand your professional network or work with teams or diverse stakeholders. You could be working with the CEO or the founder or a business partner. I think people management skills is something that I also learned better while I was at Harvard. So I think this is one area where definitely all of you could hone, and not just with superiors. You need to have great people management skills with people who are, working for you too, your subordinates, and how do you treat them. I think bringing all this together would kind of shape how you are as a professional and as a human being. So with that, I would leave all of you, and I wish you the best of luck in your journey wherever you go on to. And have a great and impactful professional life ahead. Thank you very much.